In this episode, you'll learn why your mind compares and how to uproot the destructive mechanism. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping online service-based entrepreneurs reduce stress, balance emotions, and grow a profitable business in less time. I'm your host, Justinegliskis. Here we go. 3 things you'll discover today. Secret tactics to recognize comparison before you're trapped. How to stop being run by the emotion comparison creates, and why comparison can be terrible, and how to neutralize its power. So let's start with the latter. The depth of comparison, it can riddle you throughout your bones. It can change how you see yourself. And we know if we'll just be a little attentive to the moment that our mind begins to think in relationship to comparison, you can truly feel that moment, that switch, if you'll just shine some light on it, if you'll just pay a little attention to the moment in which your thought mechanism begins to compare. And what happens when we compare is, more often than not, people we're comparing to are not the absolute embodiment of who we are actually meant to be. So many humans in this world are secondhand, meaning they are not following their true path. And when I say that, I'm not judging them. I'm saying that although that's the case, it's fully necessary for humans to go through this. But if you are one of those individuals who can feel that your consciousness is expanding, you can feel that your awareness is radiating, and that your attention to your own internal mechanisms matters almost more than what you do in this external world. Now, as I say that, your internal is going to guide your external. It's not like they're disconnected. Like, someone truly awake is going to be high caliber on all levels. Now, right? We don't need to go too much into comparing awareness levels. That doesn't matter. You feel it when you interact with those who are listening, who do the self-inquiry, who notice their own illusions, who are aware of how they judge themselves and judge others, and do what they can to let that fall away like a snake sheds its skin. So ultimately, comparison is different from asking for practical feedback. Comparison usually has a tone of, oh, only if. Usually what comparison does is invite the self-pity mechanism of, wow, they're luckier. Oh, blah, blah, right? And you can feel what that does to you, as self-pity is this seed of chaos. It draws your light away from you and places it on that which you cannot control. Self-pity has to be dropped. You can only drop it once you get under it, once you understand the implications of when your mind goes to that place of self-pity. Because your brain has cells, and over time, you've heard reprogram your subconscious, change or rewire your mind. You do at level 1, you must start to rewire some of your mind. But that isn't the route to actually ending comparison. The self-inquiry turns up the awareness because you're shining light on your own processes, your patterns, your themes, your ways of thinking. And this is how you neutralize its power, is you shine light on the mechanism as it arises. And that requires a holistic embodiment, a wholly balanced lifestyle. Else your awareness is going to be too dull. Your content of your mind is going to be too loud. And therefore, you won't be able to shine that light via the flute because the trumpet is too roaring. Now, how to stop being run by the emotion that comparison creates. This is great. One of my favorites is emotion equals energy in motion. So if you are being run by a certain emotion, all you have to do is start to notice when that energy is in motion. The moment that energy begins to circulate within your being, as you do that work with your awareness, you'll notice that there's a gap, that you are not exactly your thoughts, just like the clouds are not exactly the sky. There's a background. The sky is the background to the clouds. You look at a map, but you go to the actual place which you circled on the map. That actual, that place in physical reality is so different from the place you circled on the map. So we have to understand that our mind is not exactly what we are. And at the same time, it's a great servant. We need to employ our thinking mind. We have to do that. I could not be communicating to you, right, without thought, knowledge, experience, and memory. All that being said, we just uproot the things in our life which keep us dull. As you do that, you'll be less and less controlled by emotion because you'll start to notice the moment it is in motion. So now let's look at the secret tactics to recognize comparison before you're trapped. It's one thing to notice that you've been in a loop of self-pity for hours or days or minutes. It's another thing to end the self-pity the second that it arises. The secret tactics to recognize comparison before you're trapped, you can start to ask yourself a few questions. What activity was I doing before I began to compare? Often it's going to be social media. You know what I mean? Because you see these people, but you don't know their whole life. You just see some of what they do. Most people are not fully transparent. And hey, I'm not judging them. They haven't done this work, so it's okay, right? It's like ignorance is bliss. So they're blissful, sharing their shallow highlights, which are actually not real meaning in alignment with the essence of truth in creation. But you can't force everyone to see. Not everyone's got the same awareness level. Like energetically, you chose to come here because there's work to do. And if we look at those secret tactics, it's essentially being a bit practical in terms of, okay, what actions am I doing? Social media. What's my posture like? What's my body language like? And now, of course, this takes real energy. You have to be open to ask yourself these questions. But when you use self-inquiry to question your own illusions, question your own action which leads to pain because it is not clear and congruent with your truth, when you ask yourself these questions, you'll inevitably begin to notice the parts of you which are self-sabotaging, the parts of you which are preventing you from living the life that you know you have to live, from being the man or lady that you inherently are. It's not about becoming. It's about stripping away all the things that stop you from being who you already are. That you don't have to become anything. When I say this, you will have to learn practical skills. If you're a electrician, go through that, right? Learn from a master electrician. If you're a plumber, get the blueprints, the structures, right? If you're a YouTuber, a marketing person, a online creator, you're gonna have to learn how to do certain skill sets. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is who you are in your heart is already who you need to be. Now, all you have to do is look at the parts of you and do the self-inquiry so that you shine light on your darkness. When you look at your darkness, inherently, your light begins to radiate because you can't look at your darkness without shining light on it. And when you shine light, you get more accustomed to the nature of being in alignment with the light. And as you walk that path, your truth strengthens, and it's inevitable you are undeniably in a congruency with the essence of truth, and no one can mistake that. Now, others may not know what it is. So that may trigger them. It may scare them. Then they may react. But you've been there because you've done the work. You've expanded through that. So therefore, you have compassion for those who judge you. You don't judge them. It's not like tit for tat. In the past, level 1, someone judges me, I judge them. Now, that's not how life works, right? You expand, you do this work, and it is inevitable that you learn to stop comparing yourself to others, and your mind frees itself from all the programming and the conditioning that others have perpetuated onto you unknowingly. That's where the compassion comes in. You have to see that all of the conditioning from professors and parents and culture, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know it. So much of humanity is lost. I probably would say there's 20 people in this world who are like letting this thing really expand. But when I say that, 20, don't get fooled by numbers. That's just a number. It could be 200. It could be 2,000. I just pulled that out of my mind. It could be 2 million because percentage-wise, we got billions of humans on this planet. Are you one of those humans who is willing to do the work and let their will dissipate and surrender? Of course, when I use the word surrender, it's not, you know what I mean. It is a discipline and a surrender. But you get to a place where discipline is natural. Discipline is without choice. You don't have to force or try to be disciplined. There's not another way to go. As you see your truth, your path unfolds, let that path illuminate step by step. So let's go to the recap. Secret tactics to recognize comparison before you're trapped. Question the angle you are thinking from. What actions do I do before I feel trapped? What's my posture before I feel trapped? What type of thoughts do I think before I'm trapped? Get aware of all this. Now, how to stop being run by the emotion comparison creates. It doesn't matter what you have. When you compare, there will always be something. This is what I was getting at with the social media. You could have a great family, etc. You see something, there's always going to be something that you don't have. But good thing you're a human being, not a human doing nor a human having. Now, only compare when you actually need very practical feedback. Your life is your path. You are you. Learn to be the you that makes life worthwhile. You got this. Now, why comparison can be terrible and how to neutralize its power. Comparison leads you to an energy of wanting to be like others who are lost themselves. Realize that true freedom is something that cannot be found via authority or conformity. Step into being the best you, not the best copy of someone whom your mind has grown fond of. Now, summary, your path is your truth, and the only way to see that clearly is to start walking, free of conformity, free of comparison. I love you. Now, new episodes are out Monday, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and if you're interested in working one-on-one, my offer is essentially to show you how to let your consciousness expand through self-inquiry so you can reduce stress, fear, anxiety, and all of the negative emotions. I use air quotes there. Emotion really isn't negative nor positive, but we live in a dual world, right? There's levels to this. And most people are going to understand that certain emotions feel negative, certain emotions feel positive, but holistically, it's all neutral. Let's neutralize this. If you want to know more, link in description. You can book a call with me. Appreciate you. Sincerely.